Alright, Gundam fights, all set, ready? Well, wrong series. Welcome everyone, Sanjae Uchiha here, back at it again with another anime reaction. Of course, as you can tell, we'll be diving into Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury, and this is the first main, how to describe it? The first traditional Mobile Suit Gundam series we've had in 7 years. If you're a Gundam fan, you know over the last few years we've been having a bunch of Gundam build fighters type of series. But here we are, another traditional one, and trust me, one that's been, I think people have been looking forward to, honestly, based on the trailers and especially the prologue, which I watched it a few weeks ago, but I recently rewatched it. And just to kind of give my short thoughts on the prologue before diving into this reaction review, honestly, I thought it was awesome. Like, easily a 8 or 9 out of 10. Usually when it comes on to Gundam, it's usually, I think I've watched a few Gundam series, to say the least, and to be honest, it's usually the social, financial, bioethical, or one side's aim of achieving independence, or one particular faction. Is usually like conflicts that really paint Gundam series in a, it usually puts the plot in a, like a gray area for the most part, and that's usually, that nuance, that gray area is usually what makes watching Gundam so interesting, because it kind of paints like a real world picture if humanity eventually advances to that level of technology, like advancing into space, etc, etc. So the prologue did an amazing job of actually doing that, while really pushing forward the whole idea, the horrors of war. It's just all overall messy. So I thought the prologue was great in terms of achieving that, as well as in addition to like the OST, the music, the visuals, the animation. I love the designs of the mobile suits so far, and the Gundams so far looking really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. And yeah, anyway, let me know what you thought about the prologue. But here we go, we're diving into episode 1, my reaction review of Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury. Let's go. Hopefully it's as good as Iron-Blooded Orphans by the time this series ends. At least. So let's go. Alright, here we go, episode 1. Oh, before we get into it, I just want to get you guys' opinions in terms of, comparing, like, me on the screen in this whole circle here. Do you prefer the circle on the left, or do you prefer when I used to use the green screen with me more so towards the lower left of the screen? Let me know which one, looks better. Granted, I'm kind of experimenting to see, what makes it easier to avoid copyright IDs or claims. So, yeah, I just want to help factor that in. But anyway, let's get into this. Ooh. Ooh. I know it's as a result of things getting more and more modern in terms of animation and art when it comes on to anime, but the visuals just look really good. Very frantic. Okay. Granted, this isn't a battle, but it's in stark contrast to Iron-Blooded Orphans, where Barbatos didn't really move into action until the end of the episode. It almost looks CG-ish. Ish. Ow, shit! Your head! As the KCS School of Technology. I know a person usually love the school setting when it comes on to series. It probably might be a bit cliche, but it is what it is. Granted, like with all the Gundams I've watched, this might be the first that really has that genuine school setting in terms of like a traditional Gundam series. But then again, I mean, how long will we be? How long will the school be standing? That is the better question. Or this colony, if it's a colony. Well, by the end of the episode, boom, everything is up in flames. Okay, that's interesting. Did they change? To hide her identity. Okay, this is I guess, probably just to hide her identity. They changed her name, I suppose. Not just, so why are you on your knees, fam? So she's Delling's daughter? Ooh. So I guess they have like mock mobile suit battles more than likely. I like the, well, if it is what it is. Like the whole school can see the duels essentially. Like from anywhere in campus it seems. Oh well. I thought it was like a visualization of like the area in the sky, but it's actually like close to them. That's a bit dangerous, don't you think? Oh. Like, has it been that long since the prologue in terms of time skip? Or maybe it's been like, because I don't know the age of Eri at this point, or Suletta Mercury. But I would dare to imagine it's 14 years, but the one really just gray up completely. Like, damn Dellings. Alright, so I just had to double check from the prologue that, you know, Dellings actually had black hair. Just to make sure I was going crazy, because I was saying, Marion has silver hair, so was this hair really silver already? Or is it me? Even just hearing like the ambient noises in the background, like just hearing the ambient noises, like the insects, the birds, that's really good. Just like that. Hanbok! Oh, seriously, she slapped his ass. Eri is so socially awkward, dog. It's ridiculous. Oh! Woo! Looking clean. Still say they should have let Eri pilots. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah. Get out of my Gundam.
何これ喧嘩お母さんが言ってました逃げたら一つ進めば二つ手に入るって逃げたら負けないが手に入りますでも進めば勝てるっていうの勝てなくても手に入ります経験値もプライドも信頼だって
Alright. Here we go. Yo, this shield bit's looking clean, bro. And that OST. Yo! Woo! Yo! Looking clean.
当社ホルダーの証よそして私の婚約者の証でもあるわ
Wait, what?
言ったでしょそういうルールだってでも私女ですけど水星ってお堅いのね
Oh, well.
じゃ全然ありよ
Shit.
よろしくね花婿さん
Ooh.
遥か遠くに
Ooh. Let's discuss. Alright, so yo, that was episode 1 of Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury. And like taking the prologue, I definitely think the prologue was a stronger episode, but this was still pretty good. And combining them, you have a brilliant start to this new entry within the Gundam franchise. So, general thoughts, yeah, the episode was awesome, honestly. As I said, the prologue's better. Eri, her change to the name Suletta Mercury, I find to be interesting. So, the main character, Suletta Mercury, Eric Samaya, whichever one you want to go by. Alright, so her enrolling in this school of technology based on her mother's request. That's interesting. And I think this episode does a good job of planting little, narrative seeds of things that should be fulfilled, things for us to look forward to when it comes on to the future of the series. I think that's what this episode really does a good job of. So one, Eri's change of name to Suletta Mercury, there's a lot of things that go behind that, right? So based on the prologue, right? Obviously, Dellings, Dellings is more like hunting persons who are working on the whole Gundam, the project of the constructing using the Gundam format for mobile suits, creating Gundams, etc., etc. So this is just my assumption. Maybe the change in name is because of that, more than likely, but that's something to definitely look forward to and explore as we go on in the series, to say the least. So that's one. Of course, Eri's character, like the fact that she's never been to school, I'm glad that it actually shows, because it shows that she's really socially awkward, to say the least, when it comes on to dealing with her schoolmates. And the drill with me, like it's always better to in a lot of cases, show don't tell. So that was definitely a plus when it came on to this episode. Now, of course, what I mentioned in the beginning, when it comes on to the nuances of like a traditional Gundam series, when it comes on to power struggles, fighting for independence, financial, bioethical, or just social issues. I mean, we got some of this in that episode, in the sense that we see that there's some kind of internal conflict going on when it comes on to the Benerit group, as we see Mr. Gutark, yeah, Guel's father in this episode trying to kill Dellings, apparently. So that's another thing to explore and eventually look forward to. But based on what was shown in terms of how Dellings deals with things, I think it can be safely assumed that yeah, that was to be expected to have persons within that group having some kind of animosity or just wanting to take Dellings out altogether. So of course that was shown as well. Now, of course, you have characters like Miorine, who's Delling's daughter, trying to get away, and her trying to get away from this arranged marriage-ish. Well, based on what was seen in the episode, we see that as a result of the rules her father set up in the school, based on things are decided by duels, and I assume that she probably lost, or probably a representative of hers lost, and she became the quote-unquote fiance for Ghoul. So that's one plot point, but I think the more interesting thing with Miorine's character in this episode is her obsession or desire to, or the implied desire to be unearthed, at least. You know, the desire to craft things on Earth, which, to be honest, I don't know if I'll go as far to say it stands in opposition of her dad's way of thinking, because based on the prologue, right, it seems like Dellings and his group are what you would consider as Spatians, like, you know, humans who have migrated to space, and, you know, the persons who are working with, you know, Eri's mom, dad, the Ox Earth group, essentially are persons from Earth based on the dialogue in the prologue. So I'm wondering if that's implying that Miorine is in, like, in terms of philosophy and belief, is like, apart from like just, you know, rebelling against that and not liking that because of certain things, you know, going deeper. I wonder if from a philosophical or just, you know, moral standpoint, if his daughter is in opposition to him when it comes on to matters of being on Earth versus being in space. I think that's heavily implied, and that's something that we can look forward to when it comes on to Miorine's character in this series going forward. And I'm looking forward to that as well. Of course, visuals, the fights, I don't know if it's just the coloring, the shading, but the things look really, the mobile suits look really good. Like, just even the exchanges we got in this episode looking very clean, and that well, listen, I can't sing. That OST, that chanting, like, you know, it's really good. Like, it just kind of gives me, I don't want to say Attack on Titan vibes, but it kind of, like, that OST in itself feels like this is such a brand new expansive world filled with possibilities. That's what the feeling that gives me. So definitely a plus. No, the fact that Miorine is seemingly bisexual, or probably straight up les, I don't know. That's going to be interesting. I should say it's commonplace there, and of course, more than likely, it's representative of course, us here in the modern world, as a society, getting a bit more progressive, as you know, in terms of like things like sexuality and all of that. Personally, within the show, it's whatever to me, but I'm curious in terms of how other Gundam fans are going to react. Honestly, so that's going to be interesting, and as Miorine says, that type of thing is apparently commonplace in the school, so it's whatever. But it's going to be interesting going forward, because Miorine obviously is going to be a long-running character. I could be wrong, but considering she's Delling's daughter, then it's going to be long-term. It might turn, my prediction, maybe she turns into an enemy, like an antagonist for Eri at some point, and then she becomes the, well, not the masked man, but maybe the masked woman, maybe for once in the series. So yeah, that could be a thing. But all in all, I thought this first episode was good. So yeah, of course, as I said, the prologue was definitely stronger, but this episode at least planted the seeds of things to look forward to, between what's the backstory between what happened between the prologue and now, you know, things like Eri's change in name, at least for coming to the school. What are the state of things on Mercury? because it's not like we had any indication they were moving to Mercury in the prologue. Anything outside of the like just the name of the series. So there's that. Of course, we have things between Dellings and Miorine. And of course the Benerit group and how that's going to factor into things. And the fact that, well, a Gundam is on the school, how is that going to affect things in the long run once the Benerit group or even Dellings or any high-ranking government board or officials actually find out about that? So, you know, things are being planted for the long term with this episode. Not as good as Prologue, I know I keep saying that, but definitely a solid first episode when it comes down to this new Gundam. So, yeah. Anyway, let me know what you thought about MSG and the Witch from Mercury's first episode, and I'll see you in the next one.